Hey, amazing moms, if you're new to breastfeeding or pumping, don't worry, not alone. Today, I'm sharing some of my favorite tips to make your breastfeeding journey smoother and more stress-free. First things first, find a comfortable space here. Comfort really matters. A warm compress before pumping can help stimulate milk flow and make the process a lot easier. Now let's talk about suction levels. Always start on a low setting and gradually increase as needed. Comfort is more important than speed. Listen to your body and adjust accordingly. And remember, every mom is different. Be patient with yourself. This is a learning process, and
I wish the best Rachel Zegler in her singing career, but please stop acting.
Now it looks like the damage control is continuing. It's almost like someone finally gave Rachel Zegler a script to use.
She had a beautiful moment in a reaction, but that's the only good moment she had, in my opinion.
This isn't complete 180 damage control. I don't know what is.
Funny thing is, my favorite scene of hers in this movie, she wasn't talking. Is that ironic?
Has told this woman exactly what to say. The problem is, this is too little, too late.
She thought it would be her triumphant returner, glamorous comeback, draped in legacy and ovation. But Rachel Zegler's Evita premiere turned chaotic within minutes. Instead of applause, the audience began leaving their seats and, not for intermission.
Consider that like Jamie Lloyd is doing a bit. What I mean is, Evita started previous to me, and it seems like Rachel Zegler spends the majority of the show in a black slip, and then starts Act 2 singing on the balcony, and the show ends with Diego in black underwear, covered in, well, it looks like blue icing, but like, you know, it's giving Tom Francis at the end of Sunset. I'm seeing it next month, so, you know, not judging it. But I'm starting to be like, do we think Jamie Lloyd is like making fun of us? It's sort of like, what if I strip a musical down to its core, and then I cast someone famous? Will people still reward it and give me props / pay lots of money? I'm doing wrong. I love Sunset. I think Sunset is brilliant.
Some demanded refunds. Others called it a bait and switch. Then Sir Ian McKellen chimed in, branding the production ludicrous. It wasn't just a flop, became a viral cautionary tale, with critics calling it one of the most disconnected performances ever seen on the West End.
Famous millionaire in her early 20s, she's completely out of control and out of touch with how things actually are. I can't be the only one that thinks it's very odd that she's going to get paid hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, to play make-believe and then also demand for money to come to her years after the fact.
At the heart of the backlash, a so-called woke reimagining, a £250 live stream, and a balcony stunt that critics say had more to do with Zegler's personal branding than Eva Perón's legacy. And that was just the beginning.
Rachel Zegler definitely didn't get the most love in movie theaters this year, where Snow White movie cost Disney $250 million, so she decided to pivot her career back to doing theater, but now she's getting paid for that as well. And now Rachel Zegler is living in London doing the play Evita, where she is playing the lead, and there's been a lot of iconic actresses to have that part before, like Elaine Page and Madonna. The play Evita, probably the most famous song is Don't Cry For Me Argentina, which was performed by Madonna in the 1996 movie that actually got her a Golden Globe win. So now Rachel Zegler's performing it, and she is doing an amazing job, but a lot of people don't like how her and the play decided to organize this. But they've organized it so instead of Rachel Zegler singing inside the theater for the people who paid money for the ticket, she actually goes outside and sings on the balcony where people who didn't pay anything, and they've actually gotten crowds of over 600 people. But the problem is the people actually in the theater are really pissed off about it, because tickets are going for as high as $500, but they're actually just watching a live stream of Rachel Zegler singing for a bunch of people who didn't pay anything. To be fair, this wasn't entirely Rachel Zegler's decision, but she did support the idea saying it makes the play for everyone. Well, except for actually the people who paid money to see it, which is kind of a problem. But with that, I'm Charles Brown. Please subscribe to learn something.
Even before Curtain Up, controversy was in the air. Attendees at London's Palladium were met with a sign warning of loud music, haze, strobes, and themes of a political nature. For many, it felt less like a heads-up and more like a red flag. Instantly, critics labeled it another entry in what they call woke theater, where content warnings, political messaging, and softened language dilute the emotional punch of classic art.
It's hard. And it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay.
And this wasn't just fringe critics talking. Sir Ian McKellen didn't hold back, calling the pre-show warning absurd. Theater should confront, he said. It's supposed to move you, even shock you. That's the point.
Is to look at other people's acting, particularly in the company of a like-minded friend. If you go and see something at the Playhouse here and then work out afterwards why it was rubbish or why it wasn't. And if you can't afford the theatre, go to the movies. If you can't afford the movies, watch TV together. Why is she so good? How's that achieved? Well, you can freeze frame and talk about it and learn hugely. And equally from a performance you don't think is any good. And if you don't fancy doing that, well, just sit on a bus and look at people. Because I let you into a secret, all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players.
Social media exploded. One viral post mocked, "Imagine warning people a musical about Eva Perrin might be political." Another joked, "2025 theater, come for the drama, stay for the disclaimers." But not everyone was laughing.
Someone who works in marketing, there's nothing I love more than like a good gimmick or something that gets you hooked or excited for a Broadway production. And it's exactly what The Walk did for Sunset Boulevard for me, even more so than just the star power that the show had. And obviously the legendary Andrew Lloyd Webber music that was coming along with it. It's exactly what the balcony scene is doing for me for Evita right now, which duh. I mean, if you want to call it Sunset 2.0, good, because I am a Sunset fan. I've seen it 4 times, going on 5. I'd see it many more if I could. And I love Rachel Zegler. I got to see her in Romeo and Juliet earlier this year. And so me and that same friend that I saw Romeo and Juliet with, we were originally going to go to Spain this summer, but guess what? Spain's going to be there forever. But it's not going to be there forever? Evita on the West End. That's only there for 12 weeks. So we'll see you in London in August, everyone. Because we booked them tickets, we booked those flights. We're making some plans, we're making a week of it. We're going to have ourselves a time, a little girls' trip. Anyone else doing this? Anyone else going to be out there at the same time? Let me know. Or if you have London Recs, send them our way.
They are
Supporters claimed the warnings were about inclusion, acknowledging neurodiverse audiences and emotional triggers. But that defense didn't hold for long. The themes weren't subtle, they were central, front and center.
Jamie Lloyd just couldn't help himself, could he? He said, "If I am directing a revival of an Andrew Lloyd Webber show, it simply must end with the male lead getting completely naked in his black underwear, covered in goo." He did it in Sunset, and now he's doing it in Evita on the West End. He's also, if you don't know, staging the Act 2 opener on the balcony of the theater outside. Very similar to the Sunset Walk. And I am getting a little bit worried that this is going to feel derivative. I feel like these elements felt really new and revolutionary in Sunset, and I'm a little worried that if he's just repeating the same formula, it's not gonna feel as new and fresh. Now, obviously, it's not a complete one-to-one. We can see in these photos the set is a giant staircase, which obviously is more set than Sunset had. And Rachel Zegler is seen in a full costume, although she is seen in production photos at other points in the show wearing a black slip. And so I'm very curious to see how it all plays next month when I go see it on the West End. I'm not necessarily opposed to any of this before I see it in context, but I am expressing trepidation.
Critics say the show was drenched in ideologies, tripping away the glamour, nuance, and power that made Evita iconic. This wasn't a revival, it was a lecture. And the audience, already skeptical, was about to get a shock. Midway through the show came the twist. Ziegler, in full costume, stepped onto a real balcony outside the theater to perform "Don't Cry for Me Argentina" for the crowd in the street. Inside, the paying audience watched it on a screen. Yes, a live stream, for 250-pound seats.